Hello, my name is Bob Kraft. I'm making this video about cryptocurrency. I wanted to be able to share with friends and family about some of the things that I have learned, and I thought this might be a way to do it. So, first, this is not financial advice of any kind. This is just my thoughts about some things that I've done. Um, I really shied away from cryptocurrency and Bitcoin for a long time because really the only thing I can remember that made me pull back was that Warren Buffett had said that it was really not a good thing, and perhaps he even said it was rat poison, or maybe that was Charlie Munger. And if he said that, I wasn't going anywhere near it. And I remember my older son, in the last year, but a while ago, asking about it and maybe investing in it or something. And I said, oh, no, it's not a good deal. Well, something happened, I don't know what, last fall, and I got interested. And my music mentor also does some crypto and became a bit of a crypto mentor for me. So I was curious. I was ready to think about it and look at it, and I did. And it was overwhelming to start with. I looked out at an exchange somewhere, or perhaps a site that listed coins, and there were thousands of them with all these strange names, and I didn't understand any of it, but was still curious and wondered about Bitcoin in particular, which is the big one. Bitcoin has the abbreviation BTC, so you'll hear me use either one of those terms. But I began to study Bitcoin and blockchain, which is something that Bitcoin is built on. And already see the language, it gets really scary to people, but that's really nothing to be scared of. What that is just a chain of blocks of information that keep a record, keep a ledger. In Bitcoin's case, you could think of it as the value, who bought, who sold, the value. And also then some security features that are checking that out. And one of the main things that's important about that, I learned, is that it's decentralized. What that means is it's on hundreds, if not thousands, of computers. There's not like the bank and my checking account or my savings account. That's the one place where that information is stored. They probably have a backup, but this is unlike that. This is decentralized. There's no central figure. And so that makes it very safe, because if someone wants to come in there and mess with things, they have to mess with thousands of computers to do so. Well, I liked that idea, and that made some sense. And as I was exploring it more, you began to hear the benefits of Bitcoin. First, let's talk about the deficits. One, that a lot of people don't like it. Another is it could go to nothing. It could just blow up. It could, the system could blow up. And there are many people who don't know about it and say things about it that are negative that have scared me. They don't seem to do that so much anymore because I've heard those scary things. I'll mention some as we talk here, but I found out that the easiest way to get this stuff, to get Bitcoin, well, first I should say it's not really a coin. I have here a coin that has a B on it. That's, you could say, is a Bitcoin. And I've never used this because I'm not certain of the system, but you might see something like this. These are all just symbols. Bitcoin isn't a coin like this. It's not a tangible, touchable thing. It's the information in that ledger that has value. And which makes me think of, there's only a limited number of Bitcoin that have been made. It's in the teens of millions right now, and it'll only go up to something like 21 million. So there's not a lot more to be made, and that scarcity makes it valuable, as gold has value and that there's a scarcity of it. Well, I found out that Coinbase was the place to go. And Coinbase, I will say to you with my experience, is very easy and very much easier than any of the other exchanges that I've worked with. I think that'll probably change. I think they all know that. It's just, I think Coinbase has just done the best job, got in first. I'm not sure what. And they're very big, and they are going to become a part of the stock exchange. You can buy stock in Coinbase in the future. Sometime in the next months, I think they want to do that. But so you go on, you download an app on your phone, in this case Coinbase, and you fill out the forms that they have, and you set up your bank account. And then it is that simple, but then you just simply say buy, click on a button to buy, and I bought some Bitcoin. You could buy $10 worth. I think that they have a minimum, maybe $10, up to a limit of what they'll do depending on their situation with the bank, your situation with the bank. I don't know how they decide that. So I bought some Bitcoin, and this was last fall when the price of Bitcoin was about $11,000, and that was a great deal of money. And I thought, wow, that's expensive. But I bought, I don't know, some small amount to start and see what's going on. And you can do the same if you want to. In fact, there are many places, and they're becoming more and more places where you can buy Bitcoin easily, like on Cash App, which is tied into the Square, or with PayPal. There are those places you can buy that coin. You can't use that coin very much yet, but you can buy it and keep it there. That's about all. At Coinbase, you can buy it and keep it there. But you can also buy many of the coins, the thousands of coins. You can probably buy, I don't know, let's say 50 coins at Coinbase. And so when you begin to get interested in one of these, you find out about other ones. Well, Bitcoin was the first. It's this ledger. It keeps track of things. And then you'll hear of Ethereum, and Ethereum seems to be the second one, I think, that came out. There may be other smaller ones that came out at different points, but then Ethereum came out, and they'll talk about Ether as the coin, or ETH as an abbreviation for that. And I may have bought some at that point, but I also looked about, there's a Litecoin, and that's got a more specific use, and there's a Bitcoin Cash, and there's all kinds of other ones. And so I began to buy a little bit of those. And when you go to Coinbase, you can earn crypto in certain different ones. I think Stellar Lumens was one that XLM. I learned about it and earned a little bit of XLM. And that's sort of fun to learn about them and take little tests, and they'll give you a little bit of that cryptocurrency. The difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, as I understand it, is Ethereum is really a second generation. I would use those words. I don't know if they do, but it did things better. And there were a number, my understanding is there were a number of men, maybe about 8 of them, that were a part of building Ethereum, but there's one that's the most well-known. I can't say his name. It seems like he's Eastern European or something like that. And you'll see him if you research about Ethereum. But Ethereum is very broadly used. A number of systems have begun to use Ethereum as a way to keep track of smart contracts. My guess is you might be able to do smart contracts on Bitcoin. But as I understand it, Ethereum made that work much better. Well, then there became a lot of as the story goes, a number of these men, I think it was all men that were working on Ethereum, broke off. It was a bunch of bright guys, and they wanted to do things differently. And so one of the ways that broke off was Ripple, and that one has gotten in trouble lately, and you can't buy or sell it, but probably will come back. It got under the auspices of the Securities and Exchange Commission. But Cardano is another one of those, and its symbol is ADA, and Cardano is a third generation one, and it's about doing a number of things. And when you hear Charles Hoskinson, that's one of the main characters, if not the main person with Cardano. They're really probably going to become very big in Africa to help with a number of different kinds of contractual or counting or ledgering sorts of things, like perhaps voting or keeping track of money, of course, helping people have ways of transferring money to one another without using a bank. for example. You can do that right now with Bitcoin and any of these coins. If you give me your address, which I'm not asking for, I can send you a cryptocurrency if it's on the exchange, on Coinbase, if it's BTC, Bitcoin, I can send it to you when you give me the address. There's no bank involved in that. It's decentralized. There's no middle person. This transferring using those addresses is very tricky, and if you do it wrong, all the money is lost. I have a nice story I can tell you about that in a little bit, and my sons might be smiling a little because they're a part of this story. But so I had bought a little Bitcoin. I experimented with some of these other ones that were free to earn on Coinbase. But that transferring was tricky and scary to me, so I didn't do that for quite a while. And there is another way that you can purchase Bitcoin, but it's very limited right now. It's growing, but that is through a stock exchange. And my retirement monies have all been put into a stock exchange, like Schwab, that sort of thing. And there is a trust that's called GBTC, Grayscale Bitcoin, where all they do is buy Bitcoin. And you can go on your most exchanges, probably all of them, and buy GBTC. And they're expanding. They have more, and Grayscale has more and more of those. And there's a word that those are going to become ETFs, exchange traded funds, which I think would make that system work better. Nobody really says why that's going to be a big deal, but I think it will cause them to lower the cost. Competition will cause them to lower the cost. But that is a way on your stock exchange that you can buy Bitcoin. You can buy Ethereum. ETHE is the Grayscale Ethereum trust. And then they have one that's a mixture of GDLC. And I have looked into and bought some of all of those at different times. And sometimes I've sold them because I would get afraid. And that's a really important part of this. I had learned in investing in stocks that at times I would get afraid and I would pull out of a stock. And often that was not a good thing to do. And the fear cost me. For example, this last year, about a year ago, in 2020, when because of the pandemic and shutdowns and things like that, the market really had a huge dip, a crash of sorts. And I pulled out as that was going down. And then I jumped back in and did actually fairly well with that. But I looked back, and had I left it alone, I would have done better. The exact same thing has happened, repeated itself for me with cryptocurrency when I pulled out of it at different times. For example, early this winter, Janet Yellen, Secretary of the Treasury, said, Bitcoin's used by bad people to do bad things, or I'm not quoting her, but I pulled out almost all of it, if not all of it. Thought, oh, I don't want to do that. And there's a man named Chamath Palihapitiya, who's a very bright investor. If you look him up, he's very interesting to listen to. And he said, oh, Bitcoin really should go with the best, or something like that. And now I'm understanding is that he's opened up more to Ethereum. And I would say I don't think he knows a lot about this area, because there are some other coins, I think like at that third level, like Cardano, that are doing things that are different than Bitcoin. So it's not just they're all Bitcoin copycats, but they're doing different things. And so those smart contracts and the ways that Cardano can be used, to me, makes it quite different than Bitcoin. And I don't know that Chamath knows much about that. Maybe he does. But I wanted you to be aware that it may be as natural for many people. Maybe many are like me in that when I got afraid, I pulled out and I jumped back in. And in every case so far, because of the way at least the market's been doing recently, and the main stocks that I invested in over the last few years, when I pulled out, I wasn't able to get back in as quickly as if I just left it alone. So if you're investing in the long term, which is really what I'm talking about, You sometimes have to hang on when it's really scary. And there's actually a cryptocurrency term for that. My understanding is it was a typo, and the word HOLD was spelled incorrectly at HODL. So HODL is a term that gets used. And then also it said that that means hold on for dear life. And you certainly will feel like that, because one thing you need to be aware of is these are risky. You can lose it all. But I felt like the stocks that I owned are risky, and you could lose it all with them. This seems to be riskier in most cases. It's becoming more stabilized. More people are investing in it and holding on to it, which makes it more stable. So I want you to be able to think about as well why you would invest in these things. And I think there are about 3 reasons that are really good to look at. One is it good people running it? What are they really doing with it? And are you willing to take on that risk? And for example, the difference between investing in Dogecoin, DOGE coin, which is sort of a joke. That's all it is. It's about dogs. I don't know if that Doge, D-O-G-E, is a play on that, or that's a different language. I don't know. Maybe no one does. But Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, will joke about that, and the price will go up. If you want to invest in that coin, you can. But to me, that's nothing. I mean, I thought about it, and if I would have invested in it when I wanted to, I couldn't get it. It's difficult to get. I'll talk about that in just a second. But Bitcoin is a way of putting some money away into a different sort of currency that's a scarce one, and that is not so correlated with regular money that's in our pocket or the stock market. And so those were some things that were attractive to me about it. Dogecoin was interesting and fun, and had I bought it when I did, I might have made a little bit of money. I think it was between 4 and 6 cents at that point. But it's not really doing anything. And some of the things I heard about it did not seem very attractive to me. So I think it's important to think about, why are you buying this coin and where is it headed? What kind of investment are you getting into? I did want to, for those who maybe have lasted this long, also talk about some other coins that I eventually did get. But each time I went to get another coin, I had to go to a new exchange because it was non-Coinbase. When I wanted to get Cardano, I can't remember where I went first. I think it was Bittrex was an exchange where I opened up on my phone an app for Bittrex, and you can't open one on your computer for that. And I transferred some Bitcoin there, a little bit first to make sure it worked, then a moderate amount, and then a large amount. And the story I alluded to earlier was when I had bought Cardano, I had to open, and that was where I opened, that was Bittrex that I opened, and have some Cardano there. I wanted to give my boys some of it so that they could learn about it when Coinbase got Cardano 88, which happened recently. So I transferred some coin to them. Well, I only transferred $5 the first time, and I transferred that to my older son, and he'd given me the wrong address, and that money, that coin, was gone. Then he got better at it and gave me the correct address. We copied that. You always want to copy them instead of typing them in. They're long and difficult to remember. And I sent him, and it worked. I sent a small amount again, and it worked. And then I sent him the little bit of Cardano that I sent him. Well, forgive me. Actually, was that right? I think I did it with my other son first, actually my younger son. And but they had the exact same experience. They each got a little confused, gave me the wrong address, and I sent the amount, and it disappeared. It was gone. So we sent a little amount to the correct address. They got better about it, and that worked. And then I sent the full amount. A great example for them, a teaching moment where they learned that if you don't do this right, the money's gone, and there's no one to call, like a Visa card, to give you a refund. It's gone. So that's a very important thing that I wanted you to be aware of. But I also went to another exchange and was interested in a coin called VeChain, VET, which I think is worth pursuing. And then a really Wild West sort of coin, which is BitTorrent, which is BTT. So those are some that I've looked at and perhaps dabbled in. But thinking about who's running it, what are their purposes, how long are you going to hold it, how do I get access to it? Some other coins that I've looked at recently, I have to open yet another exchange to go find and get that coin. Am I willing to do that? How much am I willing to risk? All of those things are important to look at as you jump into this wild west of cryptocurrency. Thanks for listening. I hope that's of some value to you. And let me know if there are other things you'd like me to talk about. I would like to do a similar video to this about stock investing and some things that I've learned over the years about that. So thanks for listening.